It's really nice for us to have a platform that you can count on being used in every major facility in the world.
It literally becomes like second nature, and it's like it's thinking with you. There's nothing that excites me more than a new version of Pro Tools coming out.
Been doing engineering for about 15 years. Probably been working with Pro Tools for at least 10 years. Started off with a couple other programs, and then I moved to Pro Tools because all the professionals were using it. I was real good in another program, Cubase. I was using that. I really liked it a lot. But I see why a lot of people like Pro Tools, because Pro Tools makes everything a lot simpler. It was made more for audio at first, where like other programs like Logic and Cubase were made more for MIDI and stuff like that. They were real powerful on the MIDI side. Pro Tools kind of pushed the envelope on the audio side. So basically, it's a container for you to create your music and everything. Everybody here, do you guys use Pro Tools? Yeah, very much. All the programs are pretty much the same. It's just a container for you to do your MIDI, do your instruments, and record all your music. Pro Tools basically two screens, your mix window and your edit window. That's what I like about it. You just go between these two screens and you can do everything you need to do. You can do almost everything in each screen. A lot of times I start my sessions in the mix window, and when I really get deep, I do a lot of automation. I do it in my edit window. My edit, do your little pencil, you draw your volumes and all that stuff in there. So this session right here, I kind of broke this session down last night. I did the track in a MPC and Reason, and ported it over. It's a song I did for a girl named D. LaFay. It's called Enemy of Love. And I'm gonna just go through the session. I kind of stripped a lot of stuff down, so I'm gonna just kind of build it with you. I'm gonna build it back up with you guys. See what we do here. Okay, so right here I have all my sound, all my beat is all this blue right here. That's the track. And I'm gonna group it. Control G, give you the groups. So I select all these tracks here, all the beat, and I just call it beat. So now this is all grouped. My faders, they all work together. If you click this little arrow right here, you can ungroup them and use them individually. Put it back on. You get kind of gives you more control over. You just hit mute. Everything's muted. Or solo. Everything is solo. Yep. Doesn't do a solo well. Actually, you get your options here, so you just click at all your options when you do your modified groups. And now you got solo. So the biggest thing when you're working with sessions is getting control of the session. You get all these tracks and it just gets so confusing with, the session can get real confusing real fast. So what I like to do is group my tracks, and I also like to send stuff to auxiliary tracks. So you have the different tracks you have in Pro Tools. You get your instrument tracks, you get your audio tracks, your MIDI tracks, and you get your auxiliaries. Auxiliaries are really handy for a lot of reasons, But like here, I'm gonna create an aux track, and I'll show you what I do here. Okay, I got auxiliary. I got my kick, my snare, and my hi-hat here. I want to send my kick, snare, and hi-hat to its own groove here. On the top of your Pro Tools track, you get your inputs, and you got your outputs on the bottom. So I'm gonna bus these drums to 15 and 16 because it's not used. The yellow ones are used and the white ones are not used yet. So I'm gonna go 15, 16 on my kick, 15 and 16 on my snare, and I'll go 15 and 16 on my hi-hat. My auxiliary on the top of it, I'll pick 15, 16 for the input. So everything is bussed to this track here, my kick, the snare, and hi-hat. And that's the reason why they call it a bus. You know, what does a bus do? Bus takes you somewhere, so that's what buses do. Bus is a way to get something from here to somewhere else. So now I got my kick, snare, and hi-hat bust. So if I solo out this, ungroup this here. If I ungroup it, I can still use my individual thing here. So now I just got my kick, snare, and hi-hat kind of working right there. Most important part of an urban song is kick, snare, and hi-hat. That ain't working, ain't nothing, the song ain't gonna work. So kind of can work on this individually. I spend a little time messing with my kick, my snare. Let's take this off. Now my kick, I throw an EQ on top of it. Really only a 7-band EQ. I can use a 4-band EQ. If you guys got any questions while I'm doing this, be my guest. Now the kick, sometimes I'll take off the top end a little bit. Just kind of cutting stuff to make it fit in the song because you don't want everything to have the same frequency. That's how you get your song, give your song more room. If everything is taking up the same frequency, it'll turn into mud. And the thing you want to do is, you don't want none of your meters to go in the red, really. Because everything you do on this screen is going to compile at the master. So if all these tracks are real hot, by the time you get here, it's going to be too much. It's going to be hard to control your mix. A lot of times, this little yellow area right here, I try not to go too much into that. It's kind of hard to do because you want to push a track, but you have to use instead of using Pro Tools to make it a lot of use your interface. You know, you can start out here and Anthony, give me a little bit of volume right where I'm at now. Yeah, so now I can use this, so I'm not using the program, not pushing my mix up too loud by using these faders. So I'm kind of just trying to keep it in the pocket. So now I got my everything grooved here. Let's go with our snare. This is actually 4 snares put together out of the Beat Machine. So with the snares, I kind of like, you know, it's nothing that's totally right or wrong. Anything you do is just using your ears more than anything. It's not no hard rules. You just do it till it sounds right. And you can make it just pulling some of the bass out of that snare kind of gives it more room in the mix, you know. It actually gives it more punch, you know, so. You know, this is a stereo track on the kick, but actually it's the mono kick, so in Pro Tools you can open up this outputs, click this little figure 8 right here, and it'll give you a mono track out of a stereo track. I send that right up the middle. So I kind of just cut a little bit of bass out of my snare. There's no need to be pushing 80 hertz or You know, that's subwoofer sounds, you know. So you're just kind of doing cleanup work at first. You're just cleaning your track up, you know. My hi-hat, I do the same with my hi-hats. I love these one-band EQs are incredible. You just put a high-pass filter on it, and it automatically, you know, you can, with the hi-hats, you can push your little high-pass filter down. You don't need all this stuff here. You might not even hear it, but it's actually there. It might be rumble, some rumble and everything, especially on vocals. So I got my that happening. You got your auxiliary. I made some auxiliary tracks here. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these right now, because I want you to see what I did with these. I'm gonna just delete my auxes. So my snare is really dry. You know, it's like too dry for me. One of the tricks is use a little reverb on drums to make them bigger too. You know, you can use a little reverb on kicks. You can use them on snares just to make it bigger. So the snare, I want to add some reverb to that snare just a bit. So I'm gonna create another auxiliary track. I'm gonna use a mono auxiliary track. You can do mono or stereo. On top, my inserts on the auxiliary. I like deverb. Deverb sounds nice with no settings almost, you know. And I use a hall. On top, you gotta give it an input, a bus. And I'm gonna use one, it's available. You see on my snare, I have my sends here. And I'll send it to one, mono. You can also put a reverb right on top here. I just don't prefer to work that way. On top of your inserts are usually used for EQs and compressors. Usually you don't, like I work from the old school, like the board you're using, you know, you usually put your inserts of compressors and EQs. They call them inserts because it's inserted between the signal chain. So, you know, you got your vocal and then you insert a compressor there to keep it, knock it down a little bit, keep it in a pocket. You know, and your sends are usually like delays, reverbs, and stuff like that are usually for sends. Today, Pro Tools reverb is kind of pretty neat because they actually have a mix fader on there, so you actually can put it right on top of the track and use your mix. I just prefer to keep working like I always work and use it as a send. So, all right, now that we put that on top of the snare here. From my reverb, let's see, let me put it down. Do a stereo box with reverb. Plus 1 and 2. Oh, okay, no, block. Because you delete that, track delete that. Okay, because I got to messing around with that stupid mix button and fader that I never use and I was showing y'all about. Push that back to 100% and we'll have a little reverb on this right here. So this track right here, actually, I kind of like to automate the reverb sometime too, because every fourth hit on that snare, I wanted the reverb to be real big. So I'm gonna show you guys how to automate this. You know, you automate everything in Pro Tools almost can be automated. So right below on every track you got your read, you got your write. So I'm gonna put that in a right position, and it's gonna write my moves on this track here. So I'm gonna kind of ride it. Let me go to my edit screen here. I'm gonna go to that other track here, my snare. And I'm gonna just write this here real quick. Okay, so I wrote that in there. Now I want to see what I did. On here you can see your waveform. I'm gonna switch it to bus so I can see what my bus is doing here. Put this back on read. So right in. Actually didn't write anything. I don't know why I didn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and write it with my pencil. Ask me why I didn't write that. It didn't write. So. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is do it this way. I ain't gonna worry about why I didn't do it. I should have did it on my computer at home. It does it. So we're gonna do it. There's a couple ways to do everything. So I'm gonna write this in here. And I'm writing that with my pencil. Every fourth one. This is the screen where I tell you I really get detailed after I get my mix going. I kind of do stuff, my automation, draw stuff in. So. Kind of draw those in, see what happens there. So now this fader should move. Draw a little bit more. You can delete your automation too, just and you can pull it in. So what I drew there, this whole beat is on a grid, and it's important to start your beats on grids. This beat is 89 beats per minute. I did it in the MPC and everything, so you get your tempo is up here. Usually when you open up Pro Tools, it's 120. You just click on this and you set it to the same beat. I always ask whoever made the beat, what's the tempo of the beat? Because if you don't get it on the grid, it makes your life a lot harder in Pro Tools. So now that I got this on the grid, you got slip and grid up here. I put this on the grid so I can work in bars. So I can grab this right here. Grid, and you got your grid thing right here. Just open that up, put it on bar. And this automation, I can just copy it. And repeat it through the whole song. Okay, so it's like 20. So down that automation is going through the whole song, that reverb on the snare. So. So you see my little fader moving every time it gets to that. actually want to do right here. You put it in slip, you take it out of the grid mode, and you kind of zone in on a couple things here. This toolbar up here, this is where all your tools are. You got your pencil, you got your scrubber, you get your tool where you can pull stuff back. I think Pro Tools has the best toolbar thing. Once you click it up here, you can use all three of these tools just by where you put your mouse inside of the track. So if I want to go to the front, it just turns into a grabber. If I want to cut in the middle, it turns into that, and you cut right there. And then if you turns into a hand, you can move your tracks. So you get that. So you can kind of, switch it up. It can kind of be random. You don't want to do the same thing every time, with beats and stuff, they loopy anyway, so you kind of want to use automation to kind of like make the music move a little bit and everything. So with that, we did worked on that snare. Let's move on to the talk about the sample. The sample I got here is so George Duke sample. I got a sample from a record, put it in the beat machine. I didn't do much to the sample. I like to sample. When I sample off of records, I always make sure I can play the sample on the keyboard. Because if you don't start off like that, you'll have a sample, you pitch it down, pitch it up, and then you can't have a musician. You want musicians to be able to play over top of your samples. So you actually want to make sure, if you sample, find the key and see if you can actually play over top of that sample. And I got organ. So when I sample that, I play. But it's on the note. Okay, so that's one thing. So a lot of times I do my sample, I copy it a few times, because I want the real clean sample. And I copied it and put a filter, put a low pass filter on it. And here's that. I just pretty much took all the highs out of the sample, and I use that sample to give it a bottom, to fill it up. You can use an EQ. I actually already did this inside of the MPC. So when I put it in, it was already filtered, but you can also use an EQ. So basically, if you didn't do that, you could just take this sample, duplicate the track. I want to duplicate active playlist and everything in there. So I got the same sample. But in here, I just use a one-band EQ. There's a lot of ways to do it, but use a one-band EQ and pull the highs out of it. You can even boost the lows if you want. You use like a four-band EQ. As a matter of fact, let me do that because I want to kick it up a bit. I want to give it a little bit of punch somewhere here. I like 250. 250 is my punch frequency, 250, when you're in a car, and you got that sub bass kicking, and that bass that hits you right in the back right here, that's at 250. It's got like a secret frequency, A lot of people, 80 is the subwoofer. It's boom, boom. But that 250, around 200, that's that punch. So, you know, you kind of give it a little bit of a punch around 250 here. Different EQs is different spots, sweet spot. You got your Q, it makes it more narrow, so I got my regular sample here. That's just a sample without the low part I put in there. Some guys, they'll sample stuff, but it'll sound real wimpy. That's why, you know, you copy it, and now you got this low frequency kicking in, filling up some space. You don't want to fill up too much space. But, so now you got it's punching. So we got our drums kicking here. And I didn't do too much to my kicks. I feel like on kicks, you need to really pay attention to your kicks before they get into the mixer. You know, guys come in the studio, man, I need my kick to do this and do that. If your kick ain't banging out of that drum machine or whatever you're using to making the beat, it's going to stay wimpy. You know, most good mixes come from the producer picking great sounds. You got to pick good sounds, you know, before, you know. Kicks, you know, a lot of people talk about compressing kicks, but you really don't need to compress a kick out of a drum machine because it's a drum machine. It's not real drums. Not like the drummer hitting it different every time, you know. So, you know, work on your kicks real hard, you know. You can carve out a space for them right here. I kind of pulled off the front end on it, but really I don't mess with my kicks too much. My drum bus, I'm gonna put a compressor on top of here because that kind of keeps it in the pocket here. I won't hit it too hard, you know. Just a little bit on the ratio. And compressors kind of glue everything together, you know what I'm saying? Compressors, to me, I equate compressors as glue. You can use them on your drums, you can use them on all your vocals, you know. Sometimes stuff gets kind of wild. A compressor just kind of pulls everything together. You can use them on top of all your drums, on top of your whole mix. But that's why I do group my tracks. Like here's his name is drum bus. And it has so you kind of feel the drums tightening up, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into a little bit of my vocals here real quick. I'm going to put a one-band EQ on top of this alarm sound that I got here. And it's just to clean it up. Just cut out the stuff that's not there, really, you know, the rumble. A lot of times I just put a one-band EQ about on 100 hertz right there on almost every track, instrument track, guitars and stuff. There's not a lot to this beat, you know, organ air. I'm kind of do the same thing, one-band EQ, cut out some of the sub-frequencies. Just helps the track breathe a little better. Keeps you from working so hard on your master. You know, don't have all that low frequency hit compressors and stuff. I'm gonna turn this into a mono track. pan it a little bit. Taking my hi-hat a little bit there. Let's go to this edit window here. Look at the vocals here. It's the lead vocal right here, so I'll start messing with it. Okay. I got some stuff on there already. I'm gonna delete it.
To love me, but I just can't seem to love you back. Please
Okay, so this is dry vocal.
I find it hard to watch the tears that's running down your cheeks.
And like I said, I put a 1-band EQ on my vocals. Really cut your vocals. This helps cut that vocal through the mix big time. You might see this same thing on microphones. Some of your microphones get this setting on it. You can click that on. I don't like to use those, but sometimes you have to use them, like if you're recording in your house or something, you know, by a window and cars are coming past and stuff, and it's leaking into the mic. You might need to click that high pass filter on, and it'll cut some of that rumble out, you know. So I'll take that and I'll cut into this vocal a little bit here.
Hard to watch the
You
tears
can go
that's
real
running down
drastic with it, like almost telephone voice, you know. I usually go about 120.
You seem to love
Yeah, find that sweet spot. Every vocalist got a spot in the frequency where it sounds real good. You gotta be sure you don't cut that out, you know. I take it right to about that point, and then from there, you know, I'll put another EQ. I like this 7-band EQ. I'm working with all Pro Tools plugins. I usually work with, like this whole song, I had to strip everything down because it was all Waves plugin. I had an SSL on every channel and all that stuff. But Pro Tools they have good plugins. They're just tools, you know. EQs are like, I like to say EQs are like crayons, you know. They got color your sound, so you can color it any way you want. So you can add a lot of stuff with an EQ.
I find it hard to watch the tears that's running down your cheeks, because the pain you feel inside is all because of me. You seem to love me.
A lot of times I try to listen to something. This girl's a great singer, so it ain't hardly a lot of bad stuff, but I listen to a track and I try to find out what I don't like, what frequencies I don't like, you know, in that vocal, what's bugging me there. So, and then I'll start, instead of boosting stuff, everybody wants to boost first. They want to boost up stuff, and then it gets wild. It starts getting wild. Like I said, you're not controlling your mix. I like to find the spots that I don't like, and I put little notches in them. And you usually don't want to cut no more than 3 dB, you know, as a general rule, you know. So I'll start cutting my vocal out a little bit.
Tears that's running down your cheeks, because the pain you feel inside is all because of me. You seem to love me, but I just can't seem to love you back. Please understand that it's not you, I've just been hurt so bad.
And that rumble is this microphone, it's not that vocal. If it was that vocal, that would be what I meant by using a 1-band EQ. That's what I would use it for. Okay, so we're gonna go with that vocal the way it is. We'll cut it into the mix a little bit more.
Watch the tears. I find it hard to watch the tears that's running down your cheeks, because the pain you feel inside is all because of me. You seem to love me, but I just can't seem to love you
Okay, I have a reverb send already, so I'm gonna put a send this to bus 1. I'm gonna give it a little bit of reverb there. I can use, I usually have a utility reverb set up, and that's the one I used on my snare. And I'm gonna use it the same thing on my vocals. You know, if you feel like you need to use another reverb or a different setting, and you make another bus and make that a reverb bus. But when I first start my mix, I kind of work with that same reverb, and then when I get deeper into my mix, I might switch it up, give it a different reverb. I'm used to trying to work on a lot of mixes, so I try to work real fast. Okay, so. I want to push this vocal a little bit, so I'm gonna use a compressor. I like this Bomb Factory. It's a limiter actually more than a compressor. I like this on vocals because it pulls all your words. What a compressor or a limiter does, it brings all your soft words up and all the hard words down, so it compresses the vocal. So if you got something here and something there, it brings it all together so you can understand all the words. So I'm gonna use this Bomb Factory limiter. Pretty simple, there's only a few settings on it. Okay, it's cutting through a little bit better now. It's not like buried in that sample and everything. So sounding good there. But I got on here, so I got some ad-libs in there. No, goes straight verse and then it goes into this little little pre-hook thing going on here. Got going on. So. Okay, so what I want to do on this little pre-hook, I want to change. I don't want it to sound like the lead vocal. I want it to kind of have a different character. So what I'm gonna do with it, I'm gonna make it kind of sound like everybody says telephone vocal or something like that. So there's actually a preset in here. You can do it your own, but there's a preset in here, I think. Yeah, telephone. And it kind of gives you that effect, and you can kind of mess with it a little bit. So let's see. Okay. I don't like your preset. I'm gonna take it off. Let's use a female vocal in. I'm gonna make my own. I'm just pull it in. So I got that one working. I don't have to go create the same, because it's like another track here. It's overlapping. She kind of overlapped her vocal there. So I don't have to go create that same little EQ move I just did. I can just click on that in the Alt button, just take it and pull it over to that track, and it'll create the same thing on that track. So I get Okay, so we did a little something different on that pre-hook. It doesn't sound like the burst, so it doesn't, and it's not real, doesn't get real boring, you know. Like I said, EQs are like crayons, they kind of color the sound. So.
Inside is all because of me. You seem to love me, but I just can't seem to love you back. Please understand that it's not you, I've just been hurt so bad. The feelings get involved and I'm the one involved. 'Cause I can't give you my all. My heart just won't let me go.
Okay, so this that little pre-hook, I took both of these tracks and I made an aux track and I bust them both to this so I can kind of control them. And I'm gonna put a compressor on top of that auxiliary track because it's kind of fighting to cut through the mix there, you know. So I'm gonna put a Pro Tools compressor on there, and we'll kind of like see if we can push it a little bit more.
Inside is all because of me. You seem to love me, but I just can't seem to love you back. Please understand that it's not you, I've just been hurt so bad. Get involved and I'm the one involved. 'Cause I can't give you my all. My heart just won't let me fall.
Okay, so on top of your aux, both of these tracks, I got a reverb channel already. You hear a little reverb on there. I actually want to use a delay on the end of on the end of that pre-hook. I'm gonna create a delay, so I'll create another auxiliary track. And, I'm gonna pick long delay, extra long delay. What's cool about this delay is syncs to the beat. So like I said, we're at 89 beats per minute. It's got a meter here, 4 notes, quarter notes, so however you want to click on there. It even has the tempo right there, 89. I'll adjust my feedback a little bit. The feedback is how many times the reverb repeats itself. Generally like about 20 or something like that on both sides. And we can play with this delay, see what we get out of this.
Inside is all because of me. You seem to love me, but I just can't seem to love you back. Feelings get involved.
Okay, I'll give this a bus. Go 3 and 4. Bus 3 and 4. So I'm gonna send down here. I'll bus 3 and 4 over here. And when I click on it, it gives me a little fader I can play with here. So we'll see what we get.
Feelings get involved. The one involved. 'Cause I can't give you my all. Just won't let me fall.
Okay, so I like that. I like it. I'm gonna go ahead and write it. I'm gonna try to write this again how it's supposed to be done. See if this thing works. So.
Feelings get involved and I'm the one involved. 'Cause I can't give you my all. My heart just won't let me fall.
Okay, so put it in read mode.
Feelings get involved and I'm the one involved. 'Cause I can't give you my all. My heart just won't let me fall.
And again, it's not working. I got my girl back here, Patrice. She goes to school for this stuff, so she might be able to help me. Why is it just doing this? It's like my, huh? I don't know. Patrice went to school. She just graduated from school for this in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, so right here on window, if you have a 10 keypad on the side, it'll be command and then 4. But right here on the window, you see automation. If you click on that, you have
There.
to turn on what you want to automate. So right here, you have plug-in, volume. volume, panning, mutes and stuff like that. So once you turn it in, then when you do like David said, and you push right, then when he does it, it'll actually write his movements. But if it's not turned on, then you can't write.
There you go. Learn something every day. Mine's always been turned on my computer. All right, so now I can do it now. So here we go. We're going to do that again. Okay, so now when I put it in read, that fader should move now. It's still not right. Which one is that? Okay. Suspense. All right. There's always a couple ways to skin a cat. So we'll do it like this. We'll do the pencil thing. Only have hours, so they mess with that and just move it on, keep it moving, you know. Let's see. So every track here, you can go in here and do your automation stuff with a pencil. Here's my vocal group. As I got my volumes. Here's our bus 3 and 4. So I'm gonna take a pencil and draw it. Hook. So I'm gonna draw a big delay on the end of that word. I'll pull this down here so I can match it up. So you saw a fader move. That's what it was supposed to do when we wrote it in. The fade tool is real cool in Pro Tools to clean up tracks and stuff. The fade tool, when you go to an end of a track, it turns into a little box, and you can kind of put a fade on the back of words, just kind of fade them out. They're real good when you got a whole group of vocals like I got coming up here, background vocals and everything, and everybody, all the words might not end the same time. One word might be longer, the S might be longer, so use this fade to kind of fade the back end or two. I just want to show you that real quick. I'll probably get into it a little bit more once I start working with these tracks. Again, she's a real good singer. There's not a lot of cleanup to do on her tracks, you know. Fade 2 is cool. So now we're getting into the hook here. So the hook, I think I got it already grouped up and everything. Here's the hook here. That was a pre-hook. So I already got it grouped. This is my aux track right here, and here's all my other tracks. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a compressor on top of that group there. Just kind of glue it together. Use this vocal comp preset for right now for speed things up a bit. I already got a 1-band EQ on all those backgrounds. Cutting it a little bit, so I'll copy it. That setting to all these. And all your volume moves, you can actually, we'll get into the edit screen here, and you can start doing your, you can start mixing in the edit window. Go into pan, you can kind of spread it out, spread the background. I like to spread my backgrounds across the whole stereo field, you know. I got this one pan all the way right. And this same thing right here, pan it that way. This is the main one up the middle. Keep that main vocal up the middle. You can pan everything else.
My love is wanting, but I just can't give it away. 'Cause every time I
put a compressor on top of that lead on the hook. Let it cut through a little bit. Another EQ. You use a 4-band EQ.
My love is wanting, but I just can't give it away. 'Cause every time I try, I find out that my feelings change. Don't mean to hurt you, but I got to get away. 'Cause my heart's on a shell. Myself, I'm on the run. My love is wanting, but I just can't give it away. 'Cause every time I try, I find out that my feelings change. Don't mean to hurt you, but I got
this, I'm gonna put a stereo, is that it? Is that waves? Okay. They got a, Pro Tools has a widening tool in here, it's pretty cool. It's under the sound field, stereo width. I like to use that on background vocals too. It spreads it out. It's hard to hear on these big old speakers. Usually on studio monitors do you hear this stuff, but
my love is wanting, but I just can't get away. Time I try, I find out that my feelings change. Don't mean to hurt you, but I got to get away. 'Cause my heart's on a shelf. Can't help myself, I'm on the run. My love is wanting, but I just can't give it away. 'Cause every time I try, I find out that my feelings change. Don't mean to hurt you, but I got to get away. 'Cause my heart's on a shelf. Can't help myself, I'm on the run.
okay, so get that nice and wide. Well, I'm looking like on time.
7 minutes.
Okay.
But I just can't give it away. 'Cause every time I try, I find out that my feelings change. Don't mean to hurt you, but I got to get away.
Okay. So it's basically quick mix. You know, you have to listen to it. And it usually takes me 8 hours to mix a song, but on my master, so I get down here to my master fader. I got a little compressor. I've been mixing through this compressor. A lot of people tell you not to. Some people say it's cool, but I just got a habit of mixing through compressors because I like to know what my stuff is going to sound like pretty much. But when you get into, if you want to give this to somebody, let them hear, you want to make sure it's loud enough, but you want to take all this stuff off when you send it to a mastering engineer. You want to take that compressor off, let them use this $5,000 compressor to do it. But you can use Pro Tools. They have one called Maxim. This will get your song sounding close to like the radio. Rec 1 wants your song today, and you ain't got time to send it to a mastering engineer. We got a pretty cool thing. It says Pop Radio Limiter. It's a preset, but you can kind of play with it a little bit. Because you don't want this master to go into the red. You don't want to overload it. And you want it to breathe too, so.
My love is wanting, but I just can't give it away. 'Cause every time I try, I find out that my
dB at the top without going into the red. You know, it's going to be as loud as Rihanna's song or whoever else play on the radio. You also can kind of sweeten up the top end, the EQ.
My love is wanting, but I just can't give it away. 'Cause every time I try to find out that I'm feeling strange. Don't mean to hurt you, but I got to get away. 'Cause my heart's on the run.
These vocals here. Let's kick him on up here. Actually, had another session I wanted to do, but I didn't want to have time. I was going to make a beat in Pro Tools, show you how to do that. I didn't think it was going to take this long, but I like doing this. I hope to get more people coming to it, and I could do it again, you know. But I'm going to go ahead and take questions here in a second. I'm going to just go ahead and play this track from beginning to end. That was supposed to be Jay-Z rapping right there. I left a spot for Jay-Z to rap, but he didn't want to get on it. Okay. So that's that right there. And, you know, we don't have monitors or nothing like that, so I already know my snare and kick it through like I want. But that's kind of basically how I go through a song. And